Imagine an island where time has stopped, a place where the rules of the modern world don't apply, and the top of the food chain belongs to a nightmare from the prehistoric past. It weighs over 150 pounds, stretches nearly 10 feet long, and carries a weapon in its mouth that can turn a drop of blood into a death sentence. This is a Komodo dragon, the largest, most ruthless lizard on the planet. They don't hunt like lions. They don't kill like sharks. They are masters of the wait and bleed technique. Once they mark you, they don't need to chase you. They simply wait for the world to turn cold for you. Follow now, because we are entering the territory of the last true dragons. At first glance, the Komodo dragon looks slow. Its heavy, armored skin, embedded with tiny bones called osteoderms, acts like a natural chute of chainmail. It moves with a low, swaying crawl that feels sluggish. But don't let the movement fool you. This isn't a lazy reptile. It's a coiled spring of pure muscle. Their claws are like curved daggers, designed to grip and tear. Their tail is powerful enough to knock down a full-grown deer with a single swipe. But their most terrifying feature is their tongue. That forked, yellow organ isn't for tasting. It's a high-tech sensory array. It samples the air, picking up the microscopic scent of blood and decay from over 5 miles away. The Komodo dragon is a ghost in the tall grass of the Indonesian islands. It doesn't roar. It doesn't growl. It waits in the shadows of the volcanic rocks, perfectly camouflaged against the dry earth. Its patience is infinite. It can stay motionless for hours, slowing its heart rate, becoming part of a landscape. When it finally moves, it's a blur of unexpected speed. 4 short bursts, this slow lizard can hit speeds of 13 miles per hour. But it doesn't need to win a race. It only needs one single, microscopic opening. One bite, one toxic kiss that seals the fate of anything it touches. But what happens inside that bite is what truly separates the Komodo from every other predator on Earth. It's not just about the teeth. It's about a chemical cocktail that turns a victim's own body against itself. Follow now, because in the next chapter, we dive into the science of the toxic kiss and why a single scratch from this dragon means you are already dead. You just don't know it yet. Imagine a wound that refuses to close. A bite that doesn't just tear your flesh, but actively stops your heart from beating. For decades, scientists believed the Komodo dragon's mouth was simply a filthy, bacteria-filled pit. They thought it killed through infection. But the truth discovered in 2009 is far more terrifying. This isn't just a lizard with a dirty mouth. It is a walking chemical laboratory. Hidden beneath its gums are complex venom glands, the most sophisticated of any lizard on the planet. When the Komodo strikes, it doesn't need to hold on. It just needs to break the skin. One toxic kiss is enough to inject a cocktail of proteins that turn the victim's own biology into its worst enemy. Follow now, because we are about to dissect the world's most efficient chemical weapon. To understand the venom, you first have to look at the delivery system. The Komodo dragon has 60 razor-sharp, serrated teeth. These aren't just for biting. They are designed like the teeth of a great white shark. They are curved backward, meaning once they sink in, pulling away only makes the wound deeper. But here is the engineering masterpiece. The teeth are covered by thick gum tissue. When the dragon bites, the teeth cut through its own gums, mixing its blood with the venom in the victim's blood. This creates a horrific mixture that flows directly into the prey's bloodstream. It's a brutal, messy, and incredibly effective way to ensure the venom starts working instantly. The Komodo's venom is a three-way attack on the body. First, it contains anticoagulants. These are chemicals that prevent the blood from clotting. Normally, a wound starts to scab and stop bleeding. But after a Komodo bite, the blood flows like a river. The prey literally bleeds to death from even a small scratch. Second, the venom causes a massive drop in blood pressure. The victim's veins dilate, causing them to go into deep shock. Their legs grow weak, their vision blurs, and their heart struggles to pump. Third, it causes extreme muscle paralysis. The prey wants to run. Its brain is screaming escape, but its muscles simply refuse to move. This is where the horror truly begins. Once the dragon has delivered the bite, it often just lets go. It doesn't need to fight a 1,000-pound water buffalo. It knows the clock is ticking. The buffalo might run for miles, thinking it has escaped, but the dragon is right behind it, walking slowly, flicking its tongue, following the scent of the dying animal. The Komodo can track a bitten victim for days. It watches as the animal grows weaker, as its legs fail, and as its eyes lose focus. It is the most patient killer on Earth. It knows that time is its greatest ally, and the toxic kiss never fails. But how does a lizard find a single dying animal in a massive jungle or across a volcanic island? How does it know exactly where the heart has stopped? In the next chapter, we uncover the ghost hunter, the incredible, almost supernatural senses that allow the Komodo dragon to smell death from over 5 miles away. The tropical sun is a brutal weight over the Indonesian archipelago. The air is still, but if you look closely at the dry grass, you'll see it. A long, forked yellow tongue flicking in and out, tasting the molecules of the breeze. To us, the air is just heat. To the Komodo dragon, the air is a map, a detailed, 3D blueprint of every living and dying thing for miles. It doesn't need to see you. It doesn't even need to hear you. It can smell the microscopic particles of your fear, your blood, and your fading life force from over 5 miles away. This isn't just a hunter. It's a biological radar system that has been perfected over 4 million years of evolution. Welcome to the mind of the ghost hunter. In this chapter, we go deeper than ever before. We explore how this prehistoric beast uses sensors that defy human understanding to track a single drop of blood across volcanic mountains, through dense jungles, and over crashing waves. If you thought the toxic kiss was scary, wait until you see how the dragon finds you in the dark. Let's break down the science of the search. When that yellow tongue flickers, it's collecting chemical signals. These particles are delivered to a specialized sensory area in the roof of its mouth called the Jacobson's organ. This organ is so sensitive that it can tell the difference between a healthy animal and one that is slightly injured. Imagine being a water buffalo that was bitten 3 days ago. You've traveled 10 miles. You've crossed 2 rivers. You're hidden in a cave. You think you're safe. But back at the site of the attack, the Komodo dragon lifts its head. It tastes the air. It knows exactly which direction you went. It moves with a slow, rhythmic swing of its head, left to right, triangulating your position with more precision than a GPS satellite. It is a slow, unstoppable march of death. It doesn't rush because it knows you aren't going anywhere. The venom is its anchor, and its tongue is a chain that pulls it toward its meal. While the tongue is a primary weapon for tracking, the eyes of the Komodo are built for the kill. They can see objects as far as 985 feet away. But there's a catch. Their eyes are specialized for daylight. They see in a world of high contrast and sharp movement. If you stand perfectly still, you might become invisible to them. But the moment a muscle twitches, the moment your chest heaves with a panicked breath, the dragon's brain registers you as prey. But what happens at night? In the shadows of the Komodo National Park, the dragon's vision fades, but its other senses sharpen. It feels the vibrations of the earth through its heavy belly. It hears the low-frequency sounds of a struggling heart. Even in total darkness, the ghost hunter is never truly blind. It is part of the land itself, connected to every tremor and every scent. Many people mistake reptiles for stupid or instinct-driven. But research has shown that Komodo dragons are incredibly intelligent. They recognize individual human faces. They can solve puzzles. And most importantly, they plan their hunts. They don't just wander aimlessly. They learn the paths that deer take to the water. They remember where the buffalo sleep. They are strategic. They understand the waiting game. They know that if they wait by a specific tree, eventually food will come to them. This level of cognitive mapping is what makes them so dangerous. You aren't being hunted by an animal. You are being outsmarted by a creature that has seen empires rise and fall while it stayed exactly the same. It is a master of its environment, a king of its domain, and a ghost that never loses its trail. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, the gap between the hunter and the hunted closes. The buffalo is now on its knees. The venom has done its work. And through the thick brush, the dragon emerges. It doesn't look tired. It doesn't look hungry. It looks inevitable. It has followed the scent through miles of rough terrain without losing a single beat. This is a moment of the ghost hunter's triumph. All the senses, the tongue, the eyes, the Jacobson's organ, have led to this single point in time. The search is over. But for the victim, the nightmare is just beginning. Because the Komodo dragon doesn't wait for its prey to die before it starts eating. But what happens when there's no prey left? What happens when the dragon turns its hunger toward its own kind? In the next chapter, we enter the darkest part of the dragon's life, the Cannibal King. We will see the brutal reality of how these monsters treat their own children, and the horrific secret of what happens when a mother dragon gets hungry. In the natural world, the bond between a mother and her offspring is often considered sacred. From the fierce protection of a lioness to the nurturing care of an elephant, nature usually ensures the survival of the next generation. But on the volcanic islands of Indonesia, there is no such thing as mercy. There is no such thing as family. Hey, life is a zero-sum game, and the greatest threat to a baby Komodo dragon isn't a hawk, a snake, or a shark. The greatest threat is its own father, its own mother, its own kind. This is a realm of the Cannibal King, where the hunger of the stomach outweighs the instinct of the blood. If you are born small, you are not a son or a daughter. You are simply a snack that is too slow to run. Imagine being born into a world where your very existence is a race against those who gave you life. Imagine the first scent you ever tracked being the scent of your own siblings being consumed. This is the dark heart of the Komodo's story. It is a world of betrayal, where the only rule is eat or be eaten. Follow us now into the darkest corners of the dragon's nest, where we uncover the horrific reality of how these monsters survive by consuming themselves. The story begins in a hole in the ground. A female Komodo dragon lays about 20 to 30 eggs, burying them deep in the earth to hide them from predators. For months, they sit in the dark, developing their scales, their claws, and their venom. But notice something strange. The mother doesn't stay to guard them. She doesn't wait for them to hatch. She leaves, and in some of the most chilling cases ever recorded, she may return to that very spot months later, not to welcome her children, but because she remembers where she left a potential food source. When a baby Komodo hatches, it doesn't cry out for its mother. It knows instinctively that silence is its only friend. It claws its way out of the date, blinking in the harsh tropical sun, and its first instinct isn't to find food, it's to find height. It looks at the nearest tree and it climbs. It climbs as if its life depends on it, because it does. On the ground, the big dragons are waiting. They can smell the fresh, soft scent of a hatchling from miles away. To a 150-pound male, a baby dragon is a perfect meal, high in protein, easy to catch, and no bones too large to swallow. For the first 2 years of their lives, baby Komodos live a completely different life than the adults. They become tree dragons. They live in the branches of palm trees and thick shrubs, eating insects, small birds, and geckos. They are masters of the canopy, nimble and fast. But they are prisoners of the sky. They look down at the ground and see their giant relatives patrolling the earth like tanks. This creates an incredible evolutionary divide. The babies are brightly spotted, green, yellow, and gray, to blend in with the leaves. The adults are dull, earthy brown to blend with the date. It is as if they are two different species at war with each other. The trees are a sanctuary, but they are also a cage. Eventually, the baby will grow too heavy for the branches. Eventually, it will have to come down, and when it does, it must use a trick so disgusting, so repulsive, that even other predators stay away. When a young Komodo dragon is forced to travel across the ground, it knows it is vulnerable. If an adult catches it, it's over, so it employs a tactic called fecal rolling. When the young dragon finds the carcass of a dead animal, or even the droppings of an adult, it rolls its entire body in the filth. It covers itself in the smell of rot, excrement, and decay. Why? Because even a cannibalistic monster has its limits. The adult dragons, with their hypersensitive tongues, find the smell of the filth-covered youngster so revolting that they often choose not to eat it. It is a shield made of slime. It is a survival strategy born out of absolute desperation. To survive the king, you must become the most disgusting thing in the kingdom. It is a humiliating, terrifying way to live. But in the world of the Komodo, there are no awards for dignity, only for survival. Why does this happen? Why would nature allow a species to eat its own? The answer lies in the isolation of the islands. Food is scarce. There are only so many deer, so many buffalo, and so many goats. If the population of dragons grows too large, everyone starves. Cannibalism is a dragon's way of population control. It ensures that only the strongest, the smartest, and the luckiest survive to adulthood. By eating the young, the old stay strong. By hunting their own, they ensure that the DNA of the Komodo remains elite. It is a brutal, cold-blooded logic that has kept them alive since the Pliocene epoch. They have outlived the mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers, and the giant ground sloths, not through cooperation, but through an uncompromising, selfish will to live. They are the ultimate survivors because they are willing to do what no other creature will. They are willing to eat the future to survive the present. But even the king has enemies. Even this monster faces a threat that its venom cannot stop and its teeth cannot tear. In our final chapter, we move away from the blood-soaked grass and into the future of the species. We look at the last dragon, the hidden war between man and beast, and the mysterious reason why these giants are now standing on the edge of a second extinction. As the sun dips below the horizon of the Florida's sea, casting long, blood-red shadows across the volcanic slopes, a silent witness remains. It has seen the rise and fall of civilizations. It has watched the glacier of the Ice Age grow and recede. It has outlived the giants of the past, the mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers, and the terrifying terror birds. For 4 million years, the Komodo dragon has been the undisputed king of its isolated domain. It is a biological masterpiece, a survivor that refused to change in a world that never stopped shifting. But today, the king is tired. The last dragon isn't fighting another predator, and it isn't fighting the venom of a rival. It is fighting a ghost, the ghost of a world that is slowly forgetting its name. Welcome to the final chapter of our journey into the heart of the beast. In this conclusion, we look beyond the blood and the bone. We look at the mysterious bond between this monster and the humans who share its land. We uncover the secret of the dragon twins, and we ask the ultimate question. In a world of concrete and technology, is there still room for a monster made of scales and ancient fire? This is a story of the last dragon and the silent war for its very soul. On the island of Komodo, the local people, the Ora, do not see these creatures as monsters. To them, the dragon is family. According to ancient folklore, a woman once gave birth to twins, a human boy and a dragon girl. They grew up together, separate but connected by blood. This legend has created a unique, almost supernatural relationship between the villagers and the predators. For centuries, the people would leave the remains of their hunts for the dragons, and in return, the dragons would leave the villagers in peace. It was a perfect, brutal balance. But as the modern world arrived, that balance was shattered. Tourism, conservation laws, and the hunger of the outside world changed the rules. The dragon twins are no longer seen as siblings. They are seen as exhibits. The villagers are told not to feed them, and the dragons, confused by the sudden lack of offerings, have begun to look at the humans differently. When a legend dies, the protection it provides dies with it. We are now seeing the first cracks in a relationship that has lasted since the dawn of man. The peace is ending, and the hunger is returning. The Komodo dragon's kingdom is shrinking. These giants are restricted to only a handful of islands in Indonesia. But it's not just land they are losing, it's the food. Humans have hunted the time of day, the dragon's primary source of energy, to the point of collapse. When the deer disappear, the dragon has two choices: starve or find something else to eat. This is why we see more attacks on livestock and occasionally on humans. Even more terrifying is the threat of climate change. As sea levels rise, the coastal nesting grounds of Komodo are being swallowed by the very ocean that once protected them. These dragons are trapped on islands that are becoming smaller every year. They have nowhere to run. Evolution took millions of years to build this perfect predator, but it only takes a few decades of rising water to erase it. The ghost hunter is being hunted by an enemy it cannot bite, cannot smell, and cannot outrun. But nature has one last trick up its sleeve. In 2006, something incredible happened in a London zoo. A female Komodo dragon, who had never been with a male, laid eggs, and they hatched. This is called parthenogenesis, or virgin birth. It is a biological emergency button built into the DNA of the species. If a female finds herself alone on an island with no males, she can create her own colony. This discovery changed everything we knew about their survival. It shows that a Komodo is not just a brute. It is a survivor designed for the absolute worst-case scenario. It is as if the earth itself refused to let the dragon die. Even when the odds are zero, the dragon finds a way to replicate. It is a testament to the power of ancient life, a middle finger to extinction. This virgin birth is the reason they are still here, and it may be the reason they survive the next 1,000 years. We began this journey by looking at a monster, a creature of venom and ancient scales. We saw the toxic kiss, we witnessed the Cannibal King, and we felt the chill of the ghost hunter. But as we close this final chapter on the Komodo dragon, we realize that the monster is not what we thought. The real monster is the silence that follows when a species vanishes. The Komodo dragon is a mirror. It shows us a version of ourselves, raw, primal, and determined to survive at any cost. If we lose the dragon, we lose a piece of our own history. We lose the last link to a world where humans were not the masters of the earth, but merely visitors in a land of giants. The king still walks the volcanic sands of Indonesia. He is still waiting. He is still watching. And as long as the forked tongue tastes the air, the ancient world is still alive. The journey doesn't end where the trail disappears. The mystery only grows deeper in the shadows. Stay connected to the primal pulse of the wild. Stay curious, because the next maze is already being built. Subscribe to our channel and witness the secrets that the world tried to bury. The next monster is waiting. Are you ready to meet it?